The world is a wondrous and confusing place. The advancement of science and history and expansion of our knowledge of the Earth gives us a more comprehensive view of our world than ever before. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at mysterious discoveries. A US soldier's eyewitness account. Our next story is a true eyewitness account from a soldier in the US military. Names and other sensitive information have not been disclosed in the following account. I served in Iraq and I'd like to get my story out there. I don't want to say where I was deployed as I don't want to give too much information away. But one strange thing that did happen while I was there was the multiple UFOs that were witnessed by myself and others who were there. At the time, I never opened up and told people about this. It wasn't something I wanted people knowing. And after all, people who talk about these topics tend to get a label put on them. Regardless, these crafts would appear in the sky at around dusk. Sometimes they would be disc-shaped, while other times they would be in the shape of an orb. The size of them varied, but I'd say that on average they were around 25 to 40 feet in length. When these objects first started to appear in the sky, me and others thought it may have been linked to the enemy. After all, it wasn't uncommon to see projectiles in the sky, but these things were different. They seemed to be under intelligent control, being able to go from one place to another in a matter of seconds. On one particular night, one of these UFOs came into view around 1,000 meters from where we were. You could see it because it was pulsating, not in the way that an aeroplane or helicopter gives off light, but rather it looked like the whole object was actually the light. It's tough to explain, but these things seem to have been made of light. On another night, one of these UFOs flew close to the ground, almost as if inspecting the area. After this, it shot up to the sky, leaving a hole in the nearby cloud. To this day, me and my friends who witnessed these crafts have no idea what they were. Are shadow people time travelers? Shadow people sound a bit creepy, right? They are defined as supernatural shadow-like humanoid figures that, according to believers, are seen flickering on walls and ceilings in the viewer's peripheral vision. Shadow people are considered as entities of the underworld, but those who have experienced them are not sure whether they are evil, helpful, or just there. Scientists have tried to offer explanations for the phenomena. For example, some researchers conclude that seeing shadow figures are simply symptoms of sleep paralysis or deprivation, and others have noted that drug addicts are more likely to experience these sorts of hallucinations. Alternatively, they can simply be the mind playing tricks on somebody who's experiencing a heightened sense of alert, for example, when you're walking down a dark alley at night. However, some people are convinced that shadow people are actually apparitions of time travelers. They think that the reason that they are only in shadow form is because we, on Earth, can't clearly see the future and therefore find it hard to see these figures. Instead of being supernatural or devilish creatures, they are actually just people from other dimensions. They also don't seem to be taking any notice of the people that see them, therefore fitting in with the common time travel theme. Often when time traveling, the person experiencing it is not noticed by anybody else. The thing is, this is all heavily disputed, and the scientific explanations are well weighted in their favor. We'll never know for sure if shadow people are time travelers or not, or even real. But one thing is for sure: the human imagination is a powerful thing. Orang Maus cryptid. A cryptid is a term given to a creature or being who is largely mythological and has not been proven to exist by the scientific community. However, several creatures once given the cryptid name have turned out to be not as fictitious as first believed. For example, the coelacanth and the okapi were once cryptids and have now been scientifically acknowledged to exist. The Orang Maus cryptid of the jungle of Johor in Malaysia is another example of a being that was thought to be the stuff of legends, but there have been so many reported sightings that entire web groups have sprung up dedicated to proving its existence. This creature is rumoured to be a hominid about 10 feet tall, walking on 2 legs and covered in black fur. The locals of the jungle, the Orang Asli people, call the Orang Maus Hantu Jarang Gigi. which means snaggletooth ghost, and they have many legends which tell of the creature being sighted feeding on fish and raiding orchards. Although sightings of the orang maus have been reported regularly as far back as 1871, with legend and myth dating the sightings back even further, many believe that it is not a cryptid at all, but merely a surviving relative of the Gigantopithecus, which was an enormous ancient ape. Still, others dismiss the sightings entirely and claim that it is simply a sun bear, a black bear that feeds on fruit and is native to the area, being mistaken for something more sinister. Verified sightings of the orang maus have occurred since the 1950s, with a highly publicized sighting occurring as recently as 2005 that gave a large amount of credence to believers in the cryptid species. 3 local workers clearing land all reported seeing 3 orang maus, 2 adults and a child, walking along the river together, as though they were a family. Upon later investigation, along the riverbank were large humanoid footprints up to 1.5 feet long, where the maus family had supposedly been sighted. The momentum of the mystery surrounding the creatures truly took off several months later at the beginning of 2006, when a local Malaysian newspaper published photographs of a fresh tar footprint that was believed to be from the orang maus. Later that same month, Johor authorities announced that they would be sending an official government expedition to try to prove the existence of the maus, and in doing so, became the first country to have an officially sanctioned hunt for a mysterious hominid. Some reports from the expedition claimed that they found and captured an orang maus later that same year, but the official report denied it. Orang maus fanatics believe that sightings of the creature are becoming more common as humans carve into the jungle and destroy its home, and it is forced to expose itself to humans, meaning that it is only a matter of time before its existence is proven once and for all, while others simply believe the sightings are misidentified apes and orangutans. Only time will tell whether this mysterious cryptid is truly out there in the jungles of Malaysia, and for now, the search continues. The Pikatrix. The Pikatrix is the Latin title given to an ancient book written in Arabic that dates back to the 10th or 11th century and contains spells and occult instructions for nearly all aspects of life. Its Arabic title translates to the aim of the sage or the goal of the wise, and it contains such detailed descriptions of magic and astrology that it has become highly influential in many cultures all over the world. Grouped into 4 books, each containing several chapters, the Pikatrix covers nearly any subject that an ancient magical practitioner could wish to master, including the motion of the planets and stars and their effects on Earth, how to communicate with these celestial bodies, summoning spirits, avoiding harmful spirits, magic and its properties, drawing the vigor of the moon for use on Earth, and creating scientific compounds for experimentation. Most of the instructional recipes contained in the Pikatrix are intended to bend astrological and natural forces towards a personal will, bringing about a desired outcome such as finding treasure, exterminating rodents, healing the sick, and the list goes on and on. However, the recipes and concoctions included within the pages of this book are not for the faint of heart, an aspect that has contributed greatly to its notoriety. Some of the more dangerous ingredients include blood, bodily excretions, and brain matter, as well as a litany of psychoactive medication and hallucinogenic plants. Ingesting the contents of a recipe from this book would result in an altered state of consciousness or even loss of life. John Michael Greer's translation of one recipe states, "Take 4 ounces of the blood of a black dog, 2 ounces each of pig's blood and brains, and 1 ounce of donkey brains. Mix all this together until well blended. When you give this medicine to someone in food or drink, he will hate you." Perhaps it doesn't take an expert in astrology and the occult to know this much. The Pikatrix is also a book with enormous historical insights, despite the dubious and frequently dangerous contents. Some scholars believe that the unusual formatting is indicative of a student or students who were taking notes, as if during a lecture, and the book represents the common teachings of the era, although no true proof backs this theory up. Researchers also attribute the beginnings of the scientific method for experimentation to the document, which may have occurred as the passages were translated from Arabic to Hebrew. These rudimentary methods include the formation of a hypothesis and the creation of controlled conditions under which the hypothesis may be tested. Regardless of whether these theories are truly accurate or not, the Pikatrix represents several common themes that were apparent in ancient times. Among these are the fascination with magical powers, especially as a way to explain that which was still rendered unexplainable by the limitations of the science of the day, and the manipulation of the natural world to an individual's will. Despite the efficacy of the recipes within, the Pikatrix is an invaluable tool for scholars seeking a greater understanding of the society of the day.